Okay, then, sorry, then I need to translate that. They've also put quite a lot of terror on us and on me personally, and not the police, but the animal abusers themselves. There were a number of cases of criminal damage to our equipment of the VGT. We had also punctured tires. We had about 5 times punctured tires. We had a number of times somebody putting color on our vehicles. I personally had at home, somebody smashed my window of the flat I'm living in. Also, somebody put glue in the locks from our office as well as from the car. Also, on our information tables where we inform the public with a TV or with a beamer, we had it where those people we protest about attack us and damage this equipment or even take the video cameras. Also, we get threats. I had death threats on the phone. We have death threats, very obscene death threats at our office quite regularly. And on the 19th of July 2006, 2 paid thugs, 2 paid men came into the office and threatened the people there and said, if you continue this confrontational campaign, we will have you. And there's physical violence against animal activists on quite a scale. I personally have been more than 10 times hospitalized by animal abusing people who have hit me. And protest against fur, we have one case where people admitted to having been paid €30 per person to attack activists who have protested against fur. There's also people who have suffered a broken nose and cut eye from a protest. This is a protest against the circus, where the circus people suddenly attack. You see the one guy punching an activist and the other whipping them. This is police violence in front of an animal transport lorry, where this is me actually, and the police manhandling me to the floor while I just stood peacefully in front of this lorry. And I tried to sue this police officer because this footage was shown on the national television, and it's a still from a national television video. And the police guy argued that he was protecting my head from falling onto the floor. And the judge believed him, and so he was found not guilty. This is a hunter getting angry that he's being filmed while shooting bred pheasants. So the hunter punching the activist who's holding the camera. This is something that happened just 2 months ago. There is still bird trapping in Austria, and this is an activist who went there with a camera to film a guy bird trapping, and he took a stick and hit him and broke his arm when doing so. This also happened recently, only a month ago. Somebody went to on the road, and from the public road filmed a goose farm. And the goose farmer ran out, covered with a mask and having an axe, and swinging this at the car. And this is the picture out of the car when the car and the animal people are fleeing. And this is a press release from fur farmers. This is how they portray themselves. They put this picture into the press and said, if you come to our fur farms and film, and then we know what we will do to you. This is the sort of violence that animal activists face, and there's no special police force ever having this idea to protecting you. So at the end, what I want to do now is say a bit about this funny law, this 278A, and how they use this for prosecuting us, and also what that means in the larger picture for society and human rights. If you ask what is a criminal organization, how can they apply that to us, then the strange thing is you need to forget this idea of organization. But law experts tell me there are 6 definitions, 6 points of definition, and if something fulfills those, then this is a criminal organization. And what are these 6 things? Firstly, it must be a long-term thing, whatever it is. Then secondly, it must involve a large number of people, at least 10. Then thirdly, it must be organized like a company. So you think, okay, that is an organization as we think of it, but that is not so, because the Supreme Court has already ruled on this and said it is sufficient for a third, so 1 in 3, of the suspects talking with each other and hundreds of others on an internet platform. This is already infrastructure that is enough to say there is an organization here. Also, if you ask somebody else for help on a computer. That is enough for this structure to be like a company. And thirdly, if there are different campaign coordinators in different provinces, that also shows there is a criminal organization or an organization. Then the fourth point is you have to try to influence economy and politics. And secondly, and fifthly, you need to act in some sense secretly, like using encrypted emails or anonymous mobile phones. And then the last thing is you need to do, or somebody needs to do criminal damage of at least 3,000 euro. So how far can they apply that to us? NGOs, non-governmental organizations, fulfill 5 of those 6 criteria immediately. Because they are long-term founded, they have a large number of people usually, they have some kind of infrastructure, they try to influence economy and politics, and they act in secret to cover up informants or to cover up investigations that they do. When you film inside factory farms, you don't make it public and you don't tell the police on the phone. And you also cover up, you try to prevent future actions of being spoiled, so you don't talk about them on the phone. And you cover up identities of activists because of state repression and because of lawsuits that they might get or trouble at workplace. We have a number of cases where the police handed on information to the to the employers, and these people had then trouble there. So you need to cover that up. So 5 of 6 are already fulfilled. So what is now, how can the 6th one, the criminal damage one, be applied to us while we never do criminal damage? So the Supreme Court ruled on this already regarding the animal, our case. And the Supreme Court said, this criminal damage just has to happen in about the time of the existence of this NGO, in about its geographical area, and on the basis of about the same ideology. That is enough. It doesn't need to be the NGO, it doesn't need to be somebody who knows them or they know them. It just needs to be some sort of criminal act with the same sort of ideology somewhere and at some time in this area of time. And that is something that is also very worrying, because that makes it very easy to apply this law. Because any social movement might have somebody who breaks a window or punctures a tire. And immediately everybody else in this movement might get be considered to be part of a criminal organization. And you don't have to find out who actually committed this offense. And now the Supreme Court says, if it has been established that there is a criminal organization, according to this paragraph, it is enough to be a member, so that you can get up to 5 years prison. And what is a member? A member is just somebody who supports the same ideology, for example by joining a demo, while knowing that such criminal acts might happen by whomever or whenever. In other words, members or activists of an NGO are liable to criminal prosecution according to this section 278 if they support a legal campaign of this NGO while knowing that somebody somewhere at some time has or will inflict criminal damage of 3,000 euro for the same or a similar campaign goal. This is the Supreme Court ruling. This is how easy it is in the future in Austria to prosecute activists. The only problem you might have is with knowing. What does this knowing mean? And the Supreme Court, these are all points the Supreme Court said in the ruling. What does knowing mean? Knowing can mean, for example, that an NGO, that the NGO itself must know.